Blaydes. Curtis, thank you very much for joining us today.
No problem, man.
First question will go to Jay Anderson with Cageside Press. Your line is open.
Hey, Curtis, welcome back. This fight obviously was scheduled to take place in November and, of course, pushed back because of the whole COVID-19 thing. How important was it for you to hold on to this particular matchup with Derek?
I think it was the most important. This was the only matchup that made any sense due to our rankings and just there's no one else that really there's no one in the top five besides him for me and vice versa for him. I don't think he has anyone else. So I wasn't even really worried we weren't going to reschedule this. I was pretty confident in that.
We've heard differing stories from people who have contracted COVID-19. Obviously, we see Kamzat struggling with it right now. What was that experience like for you? I mean, how long was it before you were feeling 100%?
It was about 2 weeks. It took. I didn't have any of the respiratory issues, but I did have the headaches and muscle aches and chills. So it took about 2 weeks for that to all go away. And the fatigue. It took a little longer, just being tired randomly throughout the day. That was about a month, but I don't have any long-term effects like Kamzat, and I know a lot of people do, and I'm just happy that I didn't get that.
Well, good to see you back and healthy. I mean, when we talk about this matchup, a lot has been made over the years, even on UFC broadcasts, about Derek Lewis's ability to just get up from a takedown. It's almost treated like this magical thing, and I'm just wondering what your take is on it, because obviously you've been scouting him for a while now.
I think he gets up because look at the guys he's getting up against. He got up against Latifi, who's a former light heavyweight, not the biggest guy in the world. He got up against Blagoy Ivanov. Blagoy is not the best grappler in the world. He got up against a 40-year-old, 225-pound Alexei Olenek, who was able to take him down and hold him down. And he didn't actually get up. He came out the next round and KO'd him. So I think there's a lot of variables that go into what allows him to get up, like guys' weight, guys' skill set, guys' technique, and guys being over-aggressive, hunting submissions. We know Derek allows people to get in prime submission spots just so he can charge up and pop up. The thing is with me, I'm not hunting those submissions. I'm looking to anchor. So the just get up thing, that's not going to be an option.
Fair enough. And, if you do get the win here, you're going to be on a very impressive win streak. But then heading into this, obviously, Dana White says, well, it looks like John Jones is getting the next title shot. How frustrating is that for you, given you haven't even had a chance to, put on your performance yet?
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being I don't care and 10 being I'm flaming hot mad, put me at a 3. I get it. This is John Jones. He puts asses in the seats. He's a money fight. So I'm not mad. I get it. It's just business.
If that is the case, I know when we spoke back in November, you suggested, hey, I'd be willing to sit and wait. If you get the win against Derek this weekend, is that the same situation? Would you wait for the winner of Stipe and Jones?
We still don't know yet. It's not. There isn't anything that's concrete. Everything is very fluid. So that's an option, but we don't know for sure yet.
And last one for me, I said Stipe versus Jones. That might not be the case. Who do you see coming out with their hand raised in that rematch, Stipe versus Ngannou 2?
I see Stipe. The original game plan he had, it worked to perfection. He had to eat a couple heavy punches in that first round, but once he got to the hips, it was pretty much rinse and repeat. So why would he choose to deviate from what already has proven to work?
All right. Well, thanks as always for the time, Curtis. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Alistair Bishop with MMA Republic. Your line is open.
How are you, sir? Oh, sorry, Curtis. How are you, sir?
It's okay. I'm good, man.
I wanted to wish you happy birthday. I was busy reading something as I was speaking. Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
My first question, Mr. Blaydes, a lot of people talk about your wrestling ability. How hard is it as a wrestler to master your wrestling for MMA specifically?
It actually wasn't hard for me. It was a smooth transition. I think that's why I've been able to have the success with the wrestling that I've already had. Like the way I wrestled collegiately and in high school was I didn't do a lot of fancy takedowns, ankle picks, none of that stuff. It was just double legs, and I feel like the double leg or the blast double is the easiest takedown to transfer into MMA, and it's even easier when you add punches. Like when you get a guy's hands up to defend a jab, his hips are available. And then another thing, majority of heavyweights on the regional level, at the amateur level, and even professional in like the UFC and Bellator and all those other professional leagues, a lot of heavyweights don't have my wrestling pedigree. There's not many heavyweights that, even if they were good wrestlers, they weren't as good as me when I was wrestling. So I think just all those factors combined leads you to where I am now with 55 or 56 career takedowns.
Besides the takedowns, would you say there's something else that separates you from other well-decorated wrestlers in the UFC?
My tenacity. I believe in my takedowns, and I believe that that's the path to victory. So I'm always looking to shoot. There's a lot of guys, in every fight, there's a bunch of opportunities for guys to take each other down, but that's not what their focus is. They're focused on calf kicks or jabs to the body or whatever. If you pick your hands up, I'm looking to shoot because I enjoy it. I genuinely would rather slam you on your head than hit you with an overhand.
Would you say beating Derek Lewis makes you undeniable in terms of a title prospect once we've figured out what's happening with the title? Do you think this makes it almost undeniable for you to be next in line?
Yeah. I mean, it'll be John, and then I beat Derek. I should be next. Like I don't see how it could be anyone else.
When facing a big puncher like Derek Lewis, what would you say is the key to sticking to your game plan? Let's say in the hypothetical situation you get tagged by a big puncher. What is the key to sticking to your game plan in those situations?
Constant movement. If once you get stationary, that's how Derek catches guys. They slow down, they become stationary, they start to rest on their heels. They're not ready to pull, they're not ready to move, they're not in the athletic position and ready to move. I'm always ready to move. I'm always looking to bounce. I'm not like your traditional plodding heavyweight. I use my athleticism, and I know that's what scares guys. They know I'm explosive. They know I'm fast, and I use that to my advantage.
Sorry, one last hypothetical one from me. Let's say the stars align and you end up meeting Francis Ngannou again. What do you think would be different from your side this time?
Oh, I'm not doing anything different. I believe in my game plan. I'm going to use my boxing to get inside and get to his hips and do exactly what Stipe did. It works. I know it works. You just have to get out of the first round.
Fantastic. And the last one from me, mentioned COVID just before this. Besides the physical side, how hard is it to stay mentally prepped during these times? You know, COVID popping up, opponents pulling out last minute. What are you doing to keep yourself sharp?
The same thing we always do. Like this is a normal fight week. We wake up, we eat, get a light workout in, hang out in the room, distract ourselves with video games, books, movies, talking, companionship. It's just a normal fight week. I'm not really. Once we get to the hotel, the outside world ceases to exist.
Awesome. Fantastic. Thank you. Best of luck and enjoy the rest of your birthday.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
We'll go next to Augusto Niez-Gay with Somos MMA. Your line is open.
Hey, Garis. How are you? Happy birthday.
Thank you. I'm good, man.
And I want to ask you, Garis, how is it to celebrate your birthday in the middle of the fight week? Is there any time for celebration for
No,
something or not?
no, we'll do it after. I'm on a one track mindset right now. The birthday doesn't matter right now. I know I've had people hit me up all day and I haven't responded to 80% of them because I'm just not interested right now. Focus on the fight.
Yeah, I can imagine. And did you have your birthday cake or not?
No, I actually don't even eat cake. I don't have a sweet tooth.
Okay. What is your favorite in your birthday? That food that cannot miss in your birthday.
Pizza, but only from Chicago.
Okay. Okay. So I think that you will have that after the fight. And Curtis, I want to ask you. You have explained a few days ago why you wouldn't try to exchange with someone like Lewis, whose wrestling is not the best. But I want to ask you, why do you think that the people cannot understand that? And I want to ask you, Dana White has said a few days ago that there are hardcore fans and stupid people. So do you think that that is the explanation or not?
Yeah, I like the explanation. Like if you're a true MMA fan, then you appreciate wrestling. You appreciate grappling of any kind because you know that's a part of the sport. It's only the fans who just jumped on the bandwagon when Conor McGregor got hot. Those are the ones. Conor doesn't wrestle, so they believe that if you're good, you don't wrestle. I don't. I don't understand the correlation because if you look back at the history of MMA and the UFC, majority of the best fighters, the champions, the longest, the guys with the longest reigns, usually have a grappling background, a grappling history. Like it's it's effective. Like I know it's not. People want the blood and the guts and the stand up, rock 'em, sock 'em, but they forget we we have bodies like these bodies only have so much content they can absorb before it's over. The name of the game is longevity, and the longer I can fight, the more I can earn, the better I can provide for my family. And the best way for me to be around for a long time is to avoid those wars. I know some people would say, "Well, just go knock him out, and then you won't get hit." But that's not a guarantee. What is a guarantee is me putting you on your back and you not being able to hit me. And I just prefer that way because it preserves my body, it preserves my head. A lot of these fans they don't care if I'm gonna be able to if I'll be able to remember my daughter's birthday in 20 years. They don't care because once I retire, they'll have forgotten about me, and then they don't they don't care about the long term effects. I do. I want to earn my money, but I also want to preserve my body as best I can.
Yeah, that's 100% truth. And Curtis, I want to ask you, um, do you think that the wrestling is nowadays in the modern MMA the most effective of all the I mean all the stances? I mean the striking, the grappling, the wrestling. Do you think that the wrestling is the most effective one?
I think it depends on who you are. Like if you're a guy like Israel Adesanya, then no, I wouldn't tell him to fight like me because
Yeah.
he's a striker. But if you have the wrestling pedigree, like of a Habib or Kamaru Usman or like me, why wouldn't you use it? There's so many guys in these divisions who focus just on their striking or just on their jiu-jitsu. What's the what's the good of jiu-jitsu if you're always on bottom? If you if you're not on top, it's not as effective. Like wrestling, I believe, is usually the cleanest path to victory. If you can control where the fight is, then you control the fight.
Curtis, my last question: which type of fight do you imagine on Saturday night?
I don't know. I mean, that depends on what type of Derek we're going to see. Like we know what we're going to get from me. We don't know what we're going to get from Derek. Is he going to be aggressive? Is he going to be conservative? Is he going to be looking looking to get me out of there early? Is he? We don't know. So whatever he gives me, I'll work with it. Like if he goes backwards, I'm pressuring. If he blitzes me, I'm gonna meet him in the middle.
Okay, awesome. Thank you very much, Curtis, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
We'll take our next questions from Nikita with Sport Express. Your line is open.
Curtis, big pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you. No problem.
Curtis, now we start seeing more and more flying knee knockouts against wrestlers in UFC, like Corey Sandhagen won against Frankie Edgar, Masvidal won. Why do you think flying knee became so dangerous? And do you have your personal fear of being flying knee? And maybe now, because Derek Lewis has really good flying knee, maybe you train specific defense from flying knee?
No, I'm not too worried about Derek's flying knee. We watched it against Ear Latifi. He throws it from the other half of the cage. His flying knee is nothing like Corey's. Corey's set his up with footwork and feints and jabs. We all know Derek doesn't do footwork, Derek doesn't do jabs, and Derek doesn't do feints. So his flying knees are they're kind of sloppy. I'm just be honest, they're kind of sloppy. So no, I'm not too worried about that.
Can you explain just for all wrestlers, maybe young wrestlers, how to predict flying knee, how not be caught? Because this strike can kill you, almost
Yeah.
kill you.
I mean, the best way to do it is like when I went against Alistair. Alistair was a guy I was worried about his knees, and he was able to catch me with a knee. It wasn't a flying knee, but it was a good hard knee, and that is a fear when going against guys who throw proper knees. And the best way to avoid that is constant motion. If you don't give them a target to lock on to, they're not able to prep the knee and meet you. If you're always moving, they never have a time to find you. So that's my best advice for young wrestlers going against guys who are known to use knees. Keep moving. Don't be stationary.
Curtis, fight against Alexander Volkov. First time we all see how when you were on top, you wasn't able to put this elbow grounded pound. Why? Why Volkov found defense against your elbows?
Because he has a unique body type. Like it's hard to find guys to drill with in preparation for a guy with his like long torso, long legs, long arms. Like it's easier for him to just squeeze and break my posture. That was the biggest thing. Like he did a great job of breaking down my posture, but I think he was aided a lot by his unique physical lengths.
Curtis, you have the most fastest pace of scoring takedowns in UFC. Now you have 59 takedowns just for 13 or 14 fights. It's quicker than even GSP pace. I would like to ask you, do you have in mind that you want to break GSP record on takedowns, or is it important for you? You know, you score, you maybe go home and count your takedowns. Is it important for you?
I mean, going into the fight is not important, but after, yeah, I'm always like, how many did I get? Like when I fought Junior, I was a little disappointed that I went 0 for 8. I couldn't get at least one, but I made up for it in the next fight against Volkov. So it's not like a major thing, but it is something I take pride in. And yeah, I think about catching GSP. Like when you have an opportunity to break a record, you can't help it. I thought about it, but it's not like a priority.
Curtis, how do you think? What's the most beautiful takedown in UFC?
The double leg, that's my personal preference.
Curtis, one tricky, interesting question. Sometimes some people think that if you have very much takedown, that you have bad ground control. So it's better just one takedown, but you control all the round. For your style, you psychological more convenient with much quantity of takedowns, or you want to be able to control more good, with better
I
control.
mean, I get what you're saying, like, oh, if a guy keeps getting up, that's why you keep getting takedowns. You must have bad control, but that's not how I see it. Like, I could hold you down, but I'd rather you burn energy working your way up and then me taking you down. And then you burn some more energy working your way up, and then I take you down. And then you do it again, and I take you. It breaks you, especially heavyweight. Heavyweights are not used to being taken down and having to get up with a 250-pound plus backpack on their back. They're not used to it. It breaks them. I know it's happened over and over and over. That's why I do it. That is why I have so many takedowns. But I won't lie to you. A lot of times, like when I fought Mark Hunt, a few times I let him up because I know I just take him back down. I was like, will he get up again? I I do that all the time. Like it just breaks guys.
Curtis, every great wrestler has his day when he go into 5-round stand-up war. Kamaru Usman has his war against Colby. John Jones have his war against Gustafsson. Are you psychological ready to carnage 5-round stand-up, or you just know, damn, I just want to wrestle? No, do you want your Owen, Rory McDonald, Robbie Lawler one?
Well, no, I've had one of those fights. It wasn't a 5 rounder. It was for 3 rounds. It was UFC 213. I fought Daniel Omielanchek, and I went 0 for 12 on takedowns attempts because I had a injured pec going into that fight. So I just didn't have the power to lift. So I went 0 for 12 in that fight. And that was a stand-up war, and we did it. And that gave me confidence. I am confident in my hands. Like people think because I wrestle that I don't have hands or I'm not confident. It's not that deep. It's just I don't like getting hit in the face. And if I can avoid that, I'm going to avoid it. So if Derek defends all my takedowns, then I'll do what I did to Junior Dos Santos. But if he doesn't, why wouldn't I just take the takedowns, burn them out? Like we know that's an obvious hole in Derek's game. Why would I play to his strengths instead of playing to his weaknesses?
Derek, you fought 2 times against Francis Ngannou. Fans think that he has just pure power. Can you call him smart fighter? Does he have high fight IQ? How do you think?
I think he has shown fight IQ. He knows who he is as a fighter. He knows he has to get you out of there early. That's why excuse me. That's why he comes out so aggressive. Like he doesn't want to be in there for 15 minutes. Like that thing you just asked me, like, am I confident in being on my feet for 25 minutes? I don't think Ngannou wants to be in there for 10 minutes. He knows like each round the power goes from a 10 to an 8 to a 6 to about a 3. Like he knows that. So he knows who he is and he comes out aggressive. He knows like first round I'm at my best. That's when I'll be the most aggressive. So I think he does have pretty good fighter IQ.
Curtis, the last one from me. In terms of whole style, do you more comfortable with super technical strikers or such like Derek Lewis, who has that awkward style and super dangerous, unpredicted punches?
I mean, they both provide their pros and cons. Like a guy like Volkov, he's very technical, so you have to be your defense has to always be sharp because you know his offense is always going to be sharp. He's always going to be hands up, looking to land. But then there's a con of those type of guys because if you know there's a sequence to events like he jabs, I counter, I do this, he does this. You know the dance, so you can predict what's next. But then you got guys like Derek. The pro to guys like Derek is he's not that technical. He's not that like it's not clean. It's not pretty. He just hucks it and hopes it lands. He just puts out punches and hope they land. So it makes it easier to avoid him. But the con of that is he can catch you with something out of the blue because he has the confidence to do whatever. He's not afraid to throw from any position, and that is like a little dangerous. So I think technical guys versus like sloppier but more powerful guys, they both present different issues and they're both like an equal problem. So I really don't have a preference.
Derek, thank you very much. Best luck. We love you very much. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
We'll take our final questions from Hunter with MMA Weekly. Your line is open.
Hey, Curtis, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how you doing? When after the in the post-fight interview after Derek Lewis defeated Alexei Oleinik, he said he believed he could take you down and punish you on the ground. I'm curious, as a decorated wrestler, what was your initial reaction to hearing that?
I chuckled. Legit. I chuckled. I think he was just saying that to elicit some response from the media, which I think that was achieved. Like, oh my God, Derek's going to take down the heavyweight with the most takedowns? No. If he shoots, that means he's having a bad day. Derek does not want to wrestle.
Right. He's spoken about how he's, open to wrestling with you. Do you think that he's genuinely underestimating your wrestling when he says
Yeah.
things like that, or do you attribute
No.
that more to just his sense of humor?
Yeah, I think Derek, he understands I'm a badass wrestler because I understand he's got some crazy power in his hands. Like I'm not going to be facetious and be like, yeah, I'm gonna knock out Derek in the first round. That's just me. Like that's just looking for clickbait. I'm not. That's not my thing. That's his thing. So I think that was more of a clickbait thing.
Right. You mentioned that you enjoy watching your teammate Corey Sandhagen hit pads, and you even likened his movement to a ballet dancer. What's it like watching someone in the gym with that caliber of stand-up skills?
It's uh, it's just cool to watch. It's just cool to see like because he was already good when I first joined Elevation. I got there like almost 5 years ago. He was already good, but I've seen the growth and the maturation. I've seen him grow more confident in his techniques, and like I see him throw all types of crazy techniques in the gym, and it's just amazing to watch. It's cool. It's like imagine being in the gym watching Anderson's. So I'm not comparing Corey to Anderson. I'm just saying I know Anderson has great hands, and I know he was probably pulling off some crazy techniques in the gym. And the guys that were privy to watch it were probably like, wow, we're watching one of the best stand up fighters of our generation. And I do believe Corey has the potential to be one of the best stand up fighters of our generation.
Wow. What do you think of a potential matchup between him and TJ Dillashaw?
I think that favors Corey. I do. I know TJ is very powerful. I know his resume because when I got to Elevation, Corey was there also. I mean,
Right.
TJ was there too. So I know what he's about, and I know he's a good wrestler. But Corey, man, like the way he brings it all together. He is an MMA fighter. He's got the jiu-jitsu, he's got the wrestling, he's got the defensive wrestling, he's got the offensive wrestling, he's got head kicks, low kicks, body kicks, jabs from every he's got it all. Like majority of fighters is usually a hole in their game. Like me, my hole is head kicks. That's a hole in my game. We're working on that. Corey, I don't think he has any holes. I think he's a complete MMA fighter. And I think he's got so many tools in his tool belt that like victory is like I believe he can beat TJ.
Earlier you were speaking about wrestlers and people that have the wrestling caliber of Habib and Kamaru Usman. They should utilize their wrestling. I'm curious, what do you think of Kamaru's evolution from a boxing standpoint? He really utilized his jab successfully against Gilbert Burns. What do you think of his evolution from a boxing standpoint?
I think it's beautiful. I think like when you combine his wrestling with like legitimate technical boxing, that's a hard guy to beat. I'm very happy for him because you see a lot of wrestlers that don't ever get to that point. Their hands never grow, and then you feel like you're always like, man, if that guy could just get the striking down, he'd be a beast. He'd be a problem. Well, Kamaru's a problem.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Curtis. Happy birthday. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you very much, Curtis. You're all set.
Thank you.
Oi.